All right, people, Mark here with a brand new series. All right, here we go with our Arduino series, and we're going to start today with a very simple blinking light. I hope you have a lot of fun with this. All right, go ahead and fire up Tinkercad and go to Circuits over there on the left, and we're going to create a new circuit. And it should come up with its own funky whatever name, and yours might be different. But I'm going to call this Blinking LED. So I have my blinking LED, and I'm going to need a few things. Now I'm going to use the stuff that we're actually going to use on the physical robot or on the physical board. Maybe it'll be a robot later. I'm tipping my hand here. All right, so we'll click the Arduino Uno R3. Just click it. You can click and drag, or you can just click once and then move your mouse over to the work area and then click again. You can name it, but you don't have to. I am going to rotate it so that it's on its side like this, so we get easier access to these pins over here. And then we need an LED. We're going to need an LED. I'm going to place it, just put it over here. We're going to use a blue one. We need a resistor, so I'm going to grab a resistor, put it over here, and we are going to use a 220 ohm. So you select that. This symbol right here stands for ohms. All right, so now I have a 220 ohm resistor, and it's interesting because these little lines are how you can tell what kind of resistor it is, how many ohms it is. And so the kit that came with it, the lines are hard to see, but fortunately those resistors came in a little with a little piece of paper at the top and bottom that tells you what it is. So you should have those 220 ohms in your kit. All right. Now to wire this up, what I would do, I would attach that by soldering it right to the LED, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to make our connections using a breadboard. So I'm going to grab this breadboard, place it there, and then I'm going to rotate it also and have it right next to my Arduino. I'm going to grab the resistor and I'm going to place it so that it connects. I'm going to turn it like that so that it connects to this negative rail. All right, so you can see there's these rows here, and you can see when you put your mouse over it, they're all highlighting because that's showing you that they're all connected. So when I take this ground and I'm going to move it over like that, now in this row 7, anything I plug into that row 7 is getting this resistance from the ground to row 7. Okay, so anything I plug in here will have resistance. And so that's where I'm going to plug in my LED. Ground is negative. And so what you can do is move your mouse over to the Arduino and select where it says GRD or GND, which stands for ground. Click once and then move your mouse over to that negative rail. And it doesn't matter which one of these you click to, but I'm going to connect it right there just so it's nice and neat. It goes straight across. The color we're going to use is blue, and it's nice to have your cables color-coded so you know where it's going, and it makes things a lot easier once you get a big spaghetti bowl of wires going every which way. And we're going to use port 13, and I'm going to tell you why we're going to do that here in just a second. But I'm going to go ahead and bring that by clicking and then clicking again. Move your mouse up a little bit and then click again. And I want to attach that to 6. So row 6, just like that. And I'm going to make that red because that's our voltage. There we go. Now this LED, I need to take that LED and I need to turn it because I'm going to connect it to my breadboard just like that on the physical robot. All right, some of you already know what's happening here and you're probably going, no, but don't worry. I'll explain in a second. All right, at this point, I want to click on code. And I want to, work on my code. All right. Automatically, it comes up with a blinking light code. So we're just not going to do a ton of coding right now. We're just working on using the application online and making sure that we feel comfortable with it and, clicking and dragging and stuff like that. So we're going to leave this code just the way it is and click Start Simulation. All right. Now, if we're looking over here, nothing's happening. So you're like, oh no, what happened? Well, we're using port 13 because port 13 is connected to the LED on the Arduino itself. And we can see that it's blinking, so we know that the program is working. So there's something wrong with our wiring. You would want to troubleshoot by making sure that, first of all, that your cathode is connected to ground. Anode is connected to voltage. So we're going to move that by clicking the little reverse thing or the little rotate guy. And now we've just rotated it. Now our cathode is connected to 7, where it will go to the ground. And then our anode is connected to 6, where it goes to 13. Let's start our simulation. There we go. So it works. Just as simple as that. Now we have we set up an Arduino on the board, on the working area. We set up a breadboard. We put cables to our different rows on the breadboard, a resistor, and an LED. It's just that simple, people. It really is. And this is a lot of fun. So now what we can do is click Stop Simulation. We have this little list in the upper right. If you click on that, that's going to tell you exactly what you need. You need an Arduino, you need a blue LED, and a 220 resistor. So when you go to your kit and you're looking at the stuff, what do you need? You can click that little list. So this list could be a lot longer once you've really made a bunch of stuff on this working area. And this is going to be so much easier to look at that list to see what it is that you need. Now, we need to download our code. So we'll go back to code, and I want to make my code a little bit different. So I'm going to change these wait times to milliseconds, and I'm going to change first high to low, and I'm just doing this just for fun, just to change it up a little bit. So it's a little different than what is there. I'm going to change that to 500 milliseconds and then 200 milliseconds. So let's think about this. Low means off. And so it's going to be off for a half a second, and it's going to be on for 0.2 of a second. So it's going to flash and then wait, and then flash and then wait. So it's not going to flash, wait, flash, wait, flash, wait. I'm going to get a little bit different result here. Feel free to change this. Just make sure that if you put in 200 down here, that you change seconds to milliseconds. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting 200 seconds. Okay. Now I'm going to click the download button. The file should download. And what I want you to do is either, if you're on a Mac, you say Show in Finder, or go to your downloads if you're on a PC. Grab that file and put it on your desktop. All right, it's going to make things just a little bit easier. Now I've got that file on my desktop. If you don't see this kind of color icon, then you don't have the Arduino IDE installed. And I'll put the link in the description for where to download it. You can see there's a place here. It says Code Online. You can do that, but because we're using Tinkercad, we're going to use the actual install Arduino. All right, if you have Mac OS 10, download that. If you have Windows, download that. So once you've downloaded that, you're just going to install it just like any other piece of software. You click Next, Yes to everything, all that stuff. All right, now you have it installed. So when you open up your file, it's going to tell you like, hey, this needs to be in a folder with the same name, and that's fine. Just click OK to that. See, it says, hey, it needs to be inside of a sketch folder. Sketch is just the Arduino's name for a program. Okay, so don't worry about that. So I have my program here, and I could just kind of glance at it and just look to see if it looks kind of like, you might not understand the text right now, but that's okay. I can see that it has like delay 500, delay 200. I can see that 13 was the pin that I used. And so I should be good. Now I want to plug in my Arduino. So I'm going to do that. Now in the Mac, I click under Tools. And then there's a thing that says Board. And I'm going to make sure that I have Arduino Uno selected as the board. And then Port, I want to make sure that it is on the right port, because there's all these, you see like dev something. You don't want to be on your AirPods. You want to be selecting the one that says Arduino Uno. This little right arrow is to upload it, but first you can click verify, the little check mark. And if it verifies down here, you're good. If you don't see any red, then you're good. Then click upload. It'll go to your Arduino and you're ready to go. So let's go ahead and switch over to the physical build, and I hope that you enjoy doing that along with me. Here we go. All right, here's the stuff you're going to need. You're going to need that breadboard right there, a LED, we're going to use a blue one, an RGB LED we're going to use a little later in another video, a 220 ohm resistor, and you can see I've already used this one, and a couple of jumper cables. I'm using blue and red. And then, of course, an Arduino Uno board and an USB to connect it to your computer. All right, I'm going to have a 9 volt so that I can unplug from the computer and still use my project later to show you guys on camera. All right, let's hook up the LED first. Now remember that you have an anode and a cathode. The anode is the longer one on the LED and the cathode is the shorter one. So I'm connecting the anode into the first row, and so that's row number 1, and I'm connecting the cathode into row number 5. Now we need to hook up the resistor, and so we're going to hook up the one side of the resistor, and it doesn't matter which side. We're going to hook that up into 5 and on the one side, and then the other side we're going to connect into the negative rail. So you see those positive and negative right there. That blue one. We're just going to put it there to get it out of the way, maybe bend it over a little bit so that it's out of the way there. Now we want to connect it to our Arduino, and so we'll start with the ground. I'm going to plug it into, again, somewhere on that rail where that blue is, and then connect it into the Arduino under GND, or short for ground. So it's in that ground pin. Now we'll go ahead and take the other cable. This one is the red one. We're using that because it's the voltage, remember. And I'm plugging that into port 13, or to pin 13. Then I'm going to take that up and plug it into number 1. Okay, that doesn't go in the red rail. Okay, so don't think it goes in positive. It goes into 1. Go ahead and plug it into your computer and upload the code. We've got our program working. You can unplug the USB and you can plug in your 9 volt so that now you don't need the computer, and it'll run the program that's on it. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. It's pretty easy. I want to keep these tutorials as short as possible and as simple as possible so that you can be successful in doing this. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one.